Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel and The Fallout, where we take a look at the weekend's action and dive a little bit deeper. 5 games to get through in this episode, but something's happening here, and it's happening over there as well. Massive thank you to neonbeach.com, who have sorted me out with this bespoke sign. I'm absolutely buzzing with it, and if you guys want to get yourself a sign, you can do as well. This is the website, link is in the description. Just go have a look. Click on the link, have a look at what's available there, because there is so many options, be it colour, be it font, and of course you can have whatever you want written as well. You've got symbols, you've got artwork. It's so cool. It really is. That's why I wanted to kind of get my hands on one, and they've kindly sorted me out, and they can sort you guys out as well with 35% off. 35% off, which is amazing, really. Use my code JamesA, links in the description. As I said, just go on the website, have a little look, have a think about what you would have, and actually let me know in the comments, what would you write as your tagline if you were going to have one made up for yourselves. Massive thank you to Neon Beach once again. Let's dive into this video then, and let's have a look at the standings first and foremost. And we're going to talk about Everton, because Everton are looking a little bit buried. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did say that they would go down. I stand by that. And it's due to a few things which we'll dive into here. The game, as you can see him here down the bottom now, 22 points, same points as Watford, who we'll also be talking about in just a second. 21 points for Burnley as well. Norwich still struggling, but still somehow in it, despite losing to Leeds and to Brentford in the last week. But Everton, it's looking really ugly, I've got to be honest, because the last 4 games, there's nothing there. It's toothless. It's lacking thought a lot of the time, defensively and offensively. The patterns of play aren't there as well. Last 4 games. Now, you can like XG, you can dislike XG, but you can't suggest that it doesn't paint a picture at times. The total XG of the last 4 games for Everton, 1.67. That's 0.41 XG per game. Bottom line is, you're not going to score many goals when you're playing like that. The other thing that scares me a lot is the sort of shoots of hope are coming from the likes of Anthony Gordon. This is a kid coming through still. Of course, he's got that desire, but he's often running into sort of cul-de-sacs a lot of the time. So offensively, not scoring goals. Of course, Dominic Calvert-Lewin not playing a lot of the time. Obviously not scoring goals. The chances that are being created, Richarlison's not taking those as well. This is all scary stuff. You can feel the tension in the fan base, in the stadium. I think Lampard, I really like the way that he's tackling it. I think he's being bullish at times, and I think that can be appreciated. And I really would suggest that Everton fans stick with him, because I do like him. Going forward, it's really bad, really bad. Going backwards, it's probably even worse. In the last 4 games, 7.8 expected goals against. They've actually conceded 9 in that time. And in the game against Wolves, there's a lot of sort of misleading stats here. First of all, the fact that it was 1-0, the reason it was 1-0 was because Wolves were quite comfortable just to sit back and take that 1-0 victory. Bruno Lage has put this team in a really great spot. They were trying to play quite centrally, Everton, during this game, which you can see from the average positions here as well. It just didn't really work a lot of the time, and Wolves had them covered a lot of the time. It was just really poor. I think the possession stats say a lot as well. You know, the fact that at home, 38% possession. Yes, you've had a man sent off, but there's no passing combinations there at all at the moment. 62% possession. You know, even in the first half of this game, when you have got 11 men, 44% to 56% against a team like Wolves, who average 49% possession when they're playing their games. It looks really bad, I've got to be honest. Another set piece as well. Easy set piece for Conor Coady. Look, it's a great little run, but they've got to be doing better. They've got to be giving absolutely everything right now. And the thing that I keep coming back to, it was the reason I put them down there, is the fixtures that they've got coming up. It's really scary times for them. Let me show you the matches that they've got coming up. These 2 home games are so important. One thing I would say, shoot of hope for you as a QPR fan, we had a period in January, February where we had a lot of games that we needed to win, that we had to win, because we could see in the last 6 or 7, we had the likes of Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool, Man City. Tough games. And we didn't win those games, and we thought we were dead and buried. But somehow we beat Liverpool, we beat Arsenal, and we beat Spurs at home. So it can be done. You know, that home crowd, if you can galvanise them in some way, there's something to be had with that, right? But I worry, because these teams, that they're going to be going for it big time. And they're all playing for stuff. West Ham, you know what you're going to get. Tough game. You've got to be on it. Man United. Palace are playing with freedom. Liverpool, Merseyside derby, so difficult. Liverpool barely dropped points. Chelsea, same again. Leicester City, got to be winning that, but that's a tough game. Brentford might be safe by them, but that's not nice to hear either. And Arsenal as well, who are firing, and that's away from home. Scary time for Everton. Very, very scary. Arsenal 2, Leicester City 0. We're going to talk about both these teams here. Focus on one player in particular, really, for Arsenal. But, I mean, first things first with Arsenal, and I've said this a couple of times, is that you know the team. You know what the team is. You can close your eyes and you can read it off. Ramsdale, Tierney, Gabriel, Ben White. I mean, Suarez currently, but Tomiyasu when he's available. You know, it's starting to really... The chemistry is through the roof. They're one of my favourite teams to watch right now. And in Martin Odegaard... They've got their star man for a long time now. They need to keep a hold of him. And what I love about him is, and I spoke about this last week a little bit, is that he sees pictures and he sees the game so far in advance of everyone else right now. And so he's very unique as opposed to other players that are, say like a Bruno Fernandes. He's often like, I want the ball, and he's going and searching for the ball. And generally you think that's a good thing. And it is. What I really love about Odegaard is he's the kind of player that when you don't want to watch the ball for a second, you want to see who else is there. It's Odegaard you want to see because what kind of pockets is he picking up? And often it's this right-hand channel. And what he does here, and I was watching a video on Coach's Voice, go check it out, it's with Xavi. And what he explains, which I think is really interesting and it will make you look at football differently, is that with Barcelona, the pass they would play, it wasn't really to that player. It was to the player afterwards because they saw the pass for that next player. There was almost information with that pass. And what Odegaard does so brilliantly is he goes and plays in places that provides him the space or to be in the space that then plays that pass. So him playing in this right-hand position, and when he dots up in different areas, it's often as an option within the obvious spaces to then play that other pass. So be it here, he's able to kind of play it and then play that pass into space, be it to Lacazette, or if he's got the quality, he can play it down the line as another option because it's probably the fullback that's given him the ball. Or if he's in that hot spot that you can see him there, that's exactly where he wants it all the time because you've probably got a midfield in front of him and he's just in that horrible little space there where he can, again, play to Lacazette. He can switch it. He can play to Saka, or he can run himself. He's so smart in what he's doing. And you see that in the average positions of Arsenal as well. Let me show you that. Because, again, when we talk about the chemistry of this Arsenal team, it's so exciting. And you can see the passing lanes for all of them. And they're aggravating for the opposition a lot of the time. You know, look at the passes that every single player can play. And Odegaard is he's in the place that facilitates. You know, look at this. You can see the web of passes that can be played. And Odegaard in that little area there, what he's going to do is he's going to draw play. He's going to do two things. He's either going to draw players to you, or he's going to freeze players or bring players out of position that they don't want to be in. And when you do that, he's then got runner of Xhaka. He's got a little 1-2 with Lacazette if he wants to play it. He's got Martinelli looking to make these runs here as well. He's got Tierney if he's making the overlap as well. They're just so well drilled right now. And I'm really excited to see what they do against Liverpool in the coming week. 6 registered key passes in this game. He's only dispossessed twice. And I guess to kind of reiterate that point as well is that the Leicester City players, if you think again of that spot, they can't really get near him. They're trying to stop the passes into him, but they're unable to do so, and it creates space elsewhere. For Leicester City, there's a lot to talk about here because the set pieces is a massive problem. And let me show you that first, because the set pieces for me is, it costs you, injuries cost you points. And goals obviously cost you points, right? So here is the analyst. I've shown you this a few times, guys, on the channel. Go check it out. Really, really good. Loads of different divisions as well. Serie A, Leagues 1 and 2 and stuff like that. So this, you can see the goals and XG goals from open play and from set pieces. And so first of all, if you have a look at this one. So this is the goals from open play, sorry. Leicester City, it's not. It could be better, sure, but it's not bad. The goals from open play, 24. I mean, their XG is a little bit higher, If we, this is that's the height of it. Their XG isn't great, but in terms of the goals they conceded, they're in the top 5 or 6, right? Sorry, they're here, aren't they? They're not conceding that many. There you go. Here's the problem. Say you're Wolves and Leicester, similar teams in terms of quality of squad, let's say. Open play goals, that's one thing. Wolves are in a better space there as well. They're second in the league for that. That's one thing. But the second thing is set-piece goals. 3 goals Wolves have given away from set pieces this season. Let's click that to the top. Leicester City have conceded 14 goals. Now, that's bad in itself. So that's an 11-goal swing on Wolves, who are one of your rivals. But the other thing is the fact that, is that the first goal of a game that puts you under the cosh? Is that the goal that makes it 1 point instead of 3 points? These are the things. This is the problem for Leicester City. What has contributed to that problem, that's a wider discussion. Leicester City fans, tell me how you feel about this. Is that down to the injuries, or is that down to the manager and his message being lost a little bit now on the team? I think it's both, and I think we're at a point now where if you're Leicester City, you've got to make a decision here where you go, Brendan, thank you, but we need to freshen this up. Or you have an understanding that this is going to take 2 or 3 years to get them back to this overachievement that they have occurred over the last few years. Because when you lose someone like Vardy, you're just not the same team, And if we look at the team, not having Vardy, not having Johnny Evans at centre back there, that's going to hurt you when it comes to the set pieces, massively so. But also in terms of the pressures. So this season, Leicester City are making 46.1 successful pressures per 90, which is more than 42.9 from last season. However, last season they had a success rate of 31.7, which made them the second most effective pressers in the league, right? Which means you're winning the ball higher up the pitch, which is going to allow you to score more goals as well, because you've got less distance to cover, right? This season, their success rate is down to 29.4%, which is 11th best in the league. So that's another symptom of what not having Vardy will do. So my point is that there are going to be it's going to be painful, I think, for Leicester, because what you're seeing here is what life without Vardy is going to be like. And you're going to have to buy someone, and I like Patson Daka, but you're going to have to buy someone or find a way to be far more effective in terms of your pressing if you want to continue to play that way. If it was me, I would back Brendan as my horse. Vardy's older, Schmeichel's older, Johnny Evans older. You're gonna have to replace these players regardless. Brendan Rodgers, I think if you can get that commitment from him to go and build a team, let's get you on a 4-year contract and let's see what we can do. I would be willing to do that, I think, because yes, he is a bit Marmite, yes, he is a bit David Brent, but he does improve footballers and he is very detailed in what he does. But it's a tough question because, the message is important and it has to get through, and you have to have players that are excited by that. So either you build that around Brendan Rodgers, or you get a new manager and a new voice to get that upturn next season with a new manager. And there are other managers out there. Bruno Lage is a great example of that. Man United 3, Tottenham 2, 0.92 XG for Man United. But when you've got Ronaldo, wow. I mean, what a gorgeous hat-trick that is as well. Your first one, yeah. What, can I bang it from 25? Yes. Can I score tap-ins, getting there before the centre-back? Yes. Can I score a belter of a header? The third one. It's the third one. That is just football porn, isn't it? When he scores headers like that. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Both teams had some moments here, some nice football. It was interesting to see what Man United were trying to do here. They tried to sort of get past that double pivot. So played quite centrally, which kind of suited the style that Rangnick wants to play as well, with the likes of Sancho and Pogba alongside Ronaldo. But as I say, it was the quality of Ronaldo that kind of got them over the line. But the first goal, I think Fred was fantastic in this game. And what you got to say with Fred, I think, is that he has got a role to play. He really does. You just need that other defensive midfielder who's got that quality alongside him. Played there with Matic, and you can see from their average positions there, was an element of focus on stopping Kane and Son in those central areas there, and protecting the two centre-backs, of course. but also Fred had that license to get forward. Fred had the joint most progressive passes from that Man United squad in that game. He was crucial for that first goal. If you think he's making that effort and making that run to then make that beautiful little flick to Ronaldo to give him then that space to score that absolute screamer as well. And they did try and get past that double pivot of Spurs by using Sancho, Pogba and Ronaldo, as you can see from their average positions here, because you are going to have that base from Spurs of Højbjerg and Bentancur. What I will say, and we're kind of moving on quickly to Spurs here, because I think you shouldn't panic, Spurs fans, because I think there was some bright hopes there, and I think what was said right from the start was that Kulusevski is going to be a really, really good piece in the puzzle for Spurs, and I think that is proving to be the case. They conceded 3 goals from 0.92 XG, especially the first goal was 0.03 XG, which is absolutely amazing. Kulusevski and Bentancur have been really, really good for the team. Bentancur, great with the ball, great at sort of picking up the ball and kind of rolling a player a lot of the time, which takes players out of the game and then you're on to them. That's often the thing. Are you going to be able to do that through your passing or through your dribbling? And you've brought in 2 players here, and that's the difference for me between him and say, a Skip. Skip will probably be less on the half turn at times, or seeing what's happening here and utilising people's body weight to roll them. Maybe using his size as well, Bentancur, in that position there is really, really useful for them. But what I really love about Kulusevski is his energy. What his energy does, and this is why I use average positions so much, is that one player can affect the whole team. If you have a player that's playing here and just concentrating on Doherty, that might make Kane drop a little bit deeper, which means Son drops a little bit deeper, or even if he doesn't, he's a little bit more isolated. The great thing about Kulusevski is his desire and ability to run with the ball inside, run with the ball outside as well. If you think of the goal and the penalty that came from his ability to run at him and get that cross in. Yeah, look, Tellez isn't trying to handball it, but it was probably a handball. But what he does here, by having the energy that he has, it makes the back line retreat more, because it's not just Son you're concerned with. You're concerned with this right-hand side as well, be it with the ball or without the ball. And that drags the whole team up as well. And what that does, it means Harry Kane is higher up the pitch, which is what everyone wants deep down. The higher he is up the pitch, the better for them. And I think overall, we are starting to see a better Spurs here, and a huge part of that is down to Kulusevski and Bentancur. Watford and Leeds both win games. Unbelievable. Needed them. Really, really needed them. And look, there's 2 ways to do it. If you're not going to be good, be lucky. Watford, is this a bit of a blueprint for them? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, the first goal was from... And do we have our first team on the beach here? Our Southampton on the beach here? Because if you look at that first goal, I think you would think that quite possibly. But that's what they need, Watford. They need to kind of get the first goal, and then Hodgson ball will actually be really, really useful to Watford. And Watford aren't dead. They are not dead. I mean, the momentum bar here is hilarious. They got their goals and defended for their lives, and I don't blame them for that at all. Cucho Hernandez, very much a Hodgson kind of player. Let's show you him, because I think his heat max says a lot here. 2 goals, of course. 1 fantastic finish. 1 actually is a good finish, the first goal, but it's opportunistic and it's poor from Southampton. Who struggle to break down teams, I've got to say, and I think that might have played a part of this. And I do have a theory on Watford, actually. My theory on Watford is that if the midfield doesn't matter, they'll do all right. Man United, Everton, this game as well, where the midfield's kind of bypassed a lot of the time, be it due to the style of play or the quality of the team. When that happens, Watford kind of give themselves a chance, because I think they've got quite sort of stagnant midfielders at times. But anyway, Cucho Hernandez, I think what's nice about him here is that you've got a player who wants to get forward. He's desperate to score goals. He has got that kind of Aguero look and vibe. And 3 goals and 1 assist in his last 3 matches is great for him. But what's great here is that, yes, he'll do that, but for Hodgson, it's like he will get back for the team as well. I think that's really good when they want to kind of get back and be resolute with the 4-5-1, because they do have the quality. They've got goal scorers, and they have scored goals for the bulk of the season. It's calmed down under Hodgson a little bit. Important thing to say here about Watford as well is that they have quite a nice run of games coming up against quite a few rivals as well. And also, they don't play their next game till April the 2nd, I think it is. So Hodgson's got some time. got them time to go to drill and drill and drill and drill, and I just wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him to get past and stay up this season. Leeds United got that important victory against Norwich City. Got to be winning those games, and of course they left it late, but they got themselves the goal and completely deserved the win, in my opinion. First win put an end to a run of 6 consecutive losses for them that needed to stop that rot. Last victory was against West Ham, 2-3 victory in January. And Bamford coming back, I thought was so important. 5 chances created from him. And what I want to show you here is just the difference, right, of having him up front, even if he's not at his best, as opposed to having Daniel James, because it gives you starting points and understanding of where you're going to be, and then you can play off from him. And add to that the fact that he's quite a complete striker. You can also play those crosses. I watched the game against Leicester City, and time and again I was looking and thinking, they would have put that cross in and Bamford would have been there if Bamford was playing, and he hasn't been, of course. This is, of course, Daniel James. This isn't even Patrick Bamford, but this is the last game. Now look at the places where Daniel James gets on the ball. All over the place, just to really emphasize it. And that's Daniel James having a different style, which is fine, but he picks up the ball in so many different spaces. But when we think of a football pitch and positioning on a football pitch, that's all over the place, isn't it? Let's be honest, right? Let's go to the last game then between Norwich and Leeds then. And what you see here is just a massive difference. And no, he's not hugely involved. He should have scored a goal, Bamford. But what he offers here is a certainty of where he's going to be, both in terms of his movement and his running. Yes, he will get himself, and you can see it here. It's very faint, but he will be in those spaces. He will be in that 6 yard, on that 6 yard line when the crosses come in, once he gets his fitness up. But just here, just understanding where he's going to be. There's a lot more calmness about him as a focal point. I think that's a great way of visualising what he brings, even if he's not at his best. It's still a problem with depth here. You know, Robin Koch came on for Rodrigo, and Rodrigo was linking up really nicely with Bamford, but had to come off because the fitness isn't there right now, and that invited pressure for Norwich City side that, again, huff and puff. They really do. And Pukki, again, I think, nearly scores that goal right at the end, and you wouldn't have had a go at them for getting a draw, but Leeds needed it, got it, and I think with Bamford in the side, they'll be absolutely fine. And I've got to say, this is what we're talking about with Bielsa. This is what we're talking about with all these teams. On this channel, we want to be a bit smarter than the going, okay, well, the rubbish now. Well, hang on, who's missing? Calvert-Lewin's missing. Do you know what I mean? Bamford's missing. Vardy's missing. When these players are out, teams will struggle. And last but not least, we're going to blow our own trumpet here. I mean, it was pretty obvious, and I'm sure every Brentford fan can see it as well. But Brentford 2, Burnley 0, 1.67 XG to 0.68 for Burnley. Now, this game was 3-0 to Burnley in the corresponding fixture. But what we've been saying for a long time is that you've got to get Ivan Toney closer to goal. And the way that Brentford have been playing, and it's been necessary to a point, is that because he almost can be such a great playmaker or facilitator, I guess, as that target man, they've used him and had Mbeumo a lot higher up the pitch. Now, this is the game against Burnley earlier in the season. And what you can see here is what has been so frustrating, I think, for Brentford fans, and what Christian Eriksen has brought to the club is, okay, yes, quality, but he's unleashed Ivan Toney on the world. Of course, these are games, Norwich, Burnley, the Newcastle game as well. They wanted to play 4-3-3, and I think Thomas Frank's been quite clear with that throughout the season. He said that he's wanted those two options, but he's never had the quality really to play it, so much so that they didn't really play it all season. They've always been playing that three at the back. But in this game, way back when, Burnley did a job on Brentford. They played similar styles, quite direct, and Burnley were just way too good for them. And I think that caught them by surprise a little bit in this game, because I think they thought they'd have a much better chance of winning it because they thought the styles would be similar. Wasn't the case. So this is the game against Burnley. As you can see, Mbeumo was always the guy. You hit it to Toney, he flicks it on, all this space, and Mbeumo tries to score some goals. But Toney nowhere near the goal. Now let me click my fingers and we'll do that trick where we'll now see hit the average positions from the game at the weekend. There you go. So here we are. And there he is. Look how far further forward he is. Look at that. And this, I mean, Brentford fans, any fan who's watched him in the Championship as well knows this lad is something special. I'm telling you. He's a really, really good player. Now, look, it's a penalty. He's been scoring a few penalties. And, of course, it's a header that's on a plate from Eriksen. But he will continue to score goals if you can continue to play this way and if you can continue to have someone like Christian Eriksen in that spot there. It's so different to them, and it helps them defensively as well, because Mbeumo can get forward and get back. But Mbeumo, in terms of his output, and again in this game, he is woeful. I can't stress that enough, and I think they should upgrade there personally. But he does affect the opposition in terms of being able to make those runs for them. But to have it be Eriksen who can get on the ball and then find Mbeumo or find Toney and allow him to be higher up the pitch, so important. So important. The 4-3-3 for them was great as well. And it was evident in the stats. Norgard, 4 progressive passes, 5 passes into the final third, 2 key passes as well. Having players like Eriksen and Norgard there to do that and have that space to do that is crucial. And Eriksen, 5 aggressive passes, 6 passes into the final third, 2 key passes as well. The return of Aya as well has been really important as well. It's another nice big guy, but someone who can play as a right back, but actually they kind of play as a 3 at times as well. And you try and allow Rico Henry to offer that little bit of width and attacking verve, because he is that more natural fullback for them as well. But it's a team that's got workers, but now with Eriksen in there, just that little bit more quality. And it looks like they're going to be safe now. And what's great, I think, for Brentford fans is that one more victory, which I think will come from this more attacking style of play, where you do have those bodies, but you've got that quality of Eriksen, will see them be allowed to continue with this 4-3-3, but also finally they've got an option of 2 formations, which is huge for them. And I think they're pretty close now. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please do me a favour and subscribe to the channel and hit the like button as well. This video sometimes struggles a little bit because people kind of pop in and then pop out. So we need every little bit of engagement. So if you could do that, that would be huge. As I said, go check out neonbeach.com if you want to get yourself a sign, 35% off. Use my code JamesA, and I see you guys very, very soon.